Good evening, residents, and welcome to this episode of Nightmare Nobodies. I am Timothy, and I'm joined by my friend Sam as we get together and discuss horror movies. Find a seat as we begin the gathering. Hi, Sam.
Hi, Tim.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Look at you.
I know, we are dressed up for, we're both dressed up for this episode of Beetlejuice.
Who are you?
Sam.
For those that can't see.
Yes, because we sometimes forget that this is also a audio-based podcast and not just video. I am today dressed as Lydia Dietz from Beetlejuice. I almost forgot what bloody movie we're watching. From Beetlejuice, when she goes and gets married to Beetlejuice.
When she becomes a child bride.
A child bride. I know, yeah. A child bride. Anyways, it's a very frilly red dress with lots of lace and tulle and satin, I believe. And then I've got a wig on, and I've got full makeup. I've got a full, Tim Burton Beauty Queen prom special going on today. It was my morning activity right out of bed. I love it. It's great. I'm here for it. Happy Halloween,
How long did it take you to do the bangs like that?
The wig came like this.
Oh, okay.
The wig came with a rat's nest. I had to trim the bangs up, though, because they were incredibly long and poking me in the eyeballs.
Ooh, that's not a good look.
So the wig has the signature Winona Ryder, Lydia Dietz little triangle fringe going on. And I love it.
I love it.
And Sam, you've got a delightful little Beetlejuice shirt on.
I do. And I'm not actually in costume. I just have a Beetlejuice shirt on. And then it was a perfect reason for me to pull my hat out, which I think may be something I do for every episode because it makes doing your hair so much easier.
It does. I love it. Yes. I love your hat, by the way. It's very fancy.
Thank you.
It's black. Is there a feather in it or anything?
No.
Just a little band. Is it a
I'm
trilby?
Very basic. Is it a what?
Is it a trilby, or what is this hat called? What's the style? Do you know?
It's a hat.
It looks like a fedora. All right, there you go.
Yeah, it looks kind of like a wide-brimmed fedora.
I love it. It's very classy.
It's not as big as Lydia's black sun hat that we see her wear in the movie, but similar vibes. And as a side note, this Lydia costume has been on my list of Halloween costumes since I was a child. Some years ago, when I was working retail, I was able to dress up in costume for Halloween, and I did dress up as Beetlejuice. I will put a picture. We'll be putting pictures of this up onto our socials and into the video episode, on YouTube, just to share my shame. But Is it actual shame if you're willingly sharing it, though?
Well, I feel very ashamed of how dumb I look, but it's
I
don't have any
awesome.
dignity.
It was fun. It was so much fun.
It was the highlight of working at that job because it made everyone's days, because it's, Beetlejuice is so recognizable.
Yes.
And how many people are willing to come into work with splotchy looking green skin?
I don't know.
Me.
I guess. Yeah, you're the only person I can think of. Unless they're getting paid to do it. Michael Keaton.
I was getting paid to do it.
You didn't get paid to put on that costume. You just got paid to go to work.
I got workbucks for it. We can use because it's
Big
good.
Baller,
They
man.
give you these printed construction paper money that you could buy use at anything in the store. Yeah. Money to
Big
buy
baller,
secondhand
man.
stuff. It was the life. Yeah, I know. It was. I try not to degrade it by calling it shit, but it was a time in my life. I'm very excited about this episode today, Sam, and I'm going to try not. I am very, very excited about
I can't
this.
tell.
Yes, I know. Tim hasn't stopped talking for the 8.5 minutes that this episode's been running so far. It's not going to be that long by the time you're listening to it, but the warning's there.
Speaking of warnings, why don't we go ahead and give our spoiler warning?
Yeah, if you haven't seen Beetlejuice by now, go watch it, please. We're going to be spoiling the ever-loving hell out of it.
Yes.
And we're going to be deep diving into it, and we're going to discuss it fully at length, and including
Are we deep
the
diving?
spoilers.
I thought we were doing a speed review.
We're doing
a different
review, but we're
format.
deep diving into like the ethics of a child bride.
Okay, that's fair.
So there's your warning. If you haven't watched it, please do. It's honestly, it's a PG-8. It's not a PG-13 movie if you rent it on DVD, but if you watch it on TV or if you watch it somewhere where it is censored, because there are censored versions of this movie out there, it is a great movie for the family to watch because it's not that scary.
Is it PG-13? I thought it was PG.
PG. Oh yeah, because there's no nudity. It's just a couple of F-bombs, huh?
And suggestive motions.
Highly suggestive.
By
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a fairly tame. I think it's probably going to be one of the tamest movies we're going to review on this series.
Unless we review like Halloween Town.
Or Ernest Scared Stupid.
Which you want to review very badly. And Hocus Pocus. If we did Hocus Pocus, that one as well.
So let's get into the IMDb. I'm so sorry. I'm going to keep touching my face because this thing is literally made out of plastic wires. And I keep sweating and it's just going to go everywhere. So the synopsis. The spirits of a deceased couple are harassed by an unbearable family that has moved into their home and hire a malicious spirit to drive them out. Now, where did you get this from, Sam?
IMDb.
Okay. And I love how it simplifies the whole story a little bit, doesn't it?
It does. And it also points out the fact that the title character is not the main character, right?
Right.
And yet, so Alec Baldwin and Gina Davis are the stars, or they're credited as the stars, but Michael Keaton and Winona Ryder just straight up steal the show.
100%. 100%. I like Adam and Barbara as characters, but Lydia always wound up becoming more of the interest just because she sees both sides. You know, she sees the dead people and she has to deal with living. And that's very fun.
Mm-hmm. I loved Lydia as a kid. Like, I was like, we would be best friends.
Yes.
And in my notes, I actually have live people ignore the strange and unusual. I myself am strange and unusual. And I put in my notes, this was the moment I knew as a child that we would be best friends if she was real.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I liked Lydia because she wasn't, forced to go outside, and she liked, taking pictures of stuff, which I also liked doing. Back in the day of disposable cameras and parents yelling at you, stop wasting $15 on nothing.
Yeah. I can relate to that.
Oh my gosh. So, before we get into the movie, I want to shout out Danny Elfman on the soundtrack. This is one of the few soundtracks that I love. I love Danny Elfman. I love Danny Elfman's work on Oingo Boingo in the 80s. He's one of those musical geniuses that I will just, put on and just go to town. It's fabulous.
Speaking of Danny Elfman, do you know he's worked on almost 20 Tim Burton projects?
That's a lot.
Yes. So the fun thing is the cast list of the 7 actors who have the most screen time in this movie.
Yeah.
Only 2 of them have worked on one single Burton project.
Everyone else has worked on more than one?
Everyone else has worked on like 2 to 4.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Not including, actually, no, including the sequel that will come out at some point, depending on when the actor strike ends.
Yeah, that is actually in work. I remember hearing about that. It was in talks. I remember reading articles about it when I was in art school in like 2011.
Yeah, it's been in talks for ever.
We sat in the hallway and we were all very much abuzz about it because we're art school students, and of course we're going to love a Tim Burton film. And we sat there and we discussed it, and we were decidedly uncertain about if it was going to happen, and then I forgot about it. So thank you for reminding me that there's a sequel.
Yes, I'm excited about it.
Yes.
I think it's going to be fun.
So then I guess that brings me into my first question. I mean, not question really, but it's got me thinking about the practical effects on the next one. But let's talk about the practical effects in this one, because holy cow.
I mean, Tim Burton's amazing at stylizing practical effects. This is something I noticed throughout the whole movie, is his practical effects had his signature style all over it. So even 30 plus years later, it doesn't look dated.
No, and it's this kind of like gothic-y Art Deco, bold kind of gothic look, right?
Yeah.
And it's, I don't know if I've watched a Tim Burton film in the modern era. I mean, other than like old stuff. I think the most modern thing I've watched might have been like Alice in Wonderland when that came out. And it's still, you know, I mean, just thinking quickly on that, it's like, it still looks very Tim Burton.
Yes.
But this is, Beetlejuice is like peak Art Deco, like 80s mix with like Midwestern wood paneling. Or as they make the joke every time in the movie, LL Bean catalog.
Yeah, I didn't understand that reference. I don't know what the LL Bean catalog is.
So an LL Bean is like the bougie person's outdoor place, right? So they've got like the nice khakis, they've got this nice like shirts and stuff, and it's just like kind of dressy, nice looking flannels.
It's like country suburban?
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly like that.
That's a vibe. For sure.
It's literally what I grew up in Fargo. When I was living in Fargo as a kid, like everyone kind of had that vibe. And there was, for the longest time, actually an LL Bean in Fargo. That it was always busy.
I wonder if there were any LL Beans down here. Probably not.
I don't know if there's like a distinct line where they stop. But it's very outdoorsy. Adam's like he's a hobbyist, I guess is the word for it. He likes bird watching. He does wood. No, was it wood carving downstairs? I don't know, but
it's like model making.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
He made an entire model of the town.
Yeah, that too. And it's very rustic.
Speaking of that model set, the opening scene where like the big spiders crawling over the little model of the house, and you don't know that it's a model yet, and you're like, oh my god, that's so big, and then it pulls back and like it's this tiny spider, and he's like, oh, big fella, and I'm like, did you not read National Geographic? Like, okay, fine, there's no way for you to really know like we do now how easy it is to like learn about things in other countries and stuff, but like they had to have bigger spiders in like National Geographic. then that is not even the size of the palm of his hand.
They live in Connecticut. They live in Connecticut. They don't live where the spiders get big.
Okay. I guess that's fair. Again, don't know what that's like. Living in the South, the spiders are big year round. To be fair, our big spiders are like baby spiders in Australia, but you know.
Right. Everything's a baby in Australia compared to Australia. I still have trouble, even in this day where like everything's so diluted with CGI. I had trouble kind of figuring out: are we in a set? Are we on like what is it called, a movie lot, or are we on like a camera in the miniature? You know, like when Adam gets shrunk down and then thrown into the miniature when he's trying to stop Beetlejuice.
Right.
It's like that goes from looking into the miniature, green screening Adam in there, to being on a sound stage.
Yes.
And it's... I love it.
Yes.
It sounds so simple, and I'm like mind blown over this, but it's like it's those kind of simple practical effects that you don't get these days, you know, because how long does it take to build a model of a thing?
It depends on the model maker and how detailed it's going to be, I suppose.
Right, and it's like it's going to be a lot more money than people are wanting to build, and it's like you could just build it and like sculpt up or whatever it's called, like 3D render, like you can.
The waiting room is my favorite, and
yes, so many makeups.
And Juno, oh my gosh, Juno is fierce. Love her. Even as a kid, I was like, I want to be like that when I grow up. Maybe not the like hole in my throat, but like, you know.
Yeah. Oh, from the smoking.
No nonsense.
No.
Totally what I want to be.
No, Juno is an icon through this whole film, and I wanted to see more of her, but I understand why they had to do such little sprinkles of her, because it'd just wear her out, you know? She's a demigod civil servant, you know? She's able to create things in the real world that the afterworld people can be affected by.
Can we for a quick moment talk about, because I think this was so hilarious.
Yes.
The way she distracted Beetlejuice. I cackled. Dante's Inferno.
Oh, that's such a good reference, though. The 7 layers of hell.
Yes, I loved it. I was like, yes, let's go. This is funny.
But what's worse is that he closed down the brothel. Homie was there. Everyone was gone. The girls had gone home, and brother was just up there just like, yep, just reading a book.
Speaking of Pazuzu,
Sam, you're going to die.
There was a reference to The Exorcist in this movie.
Was. More than one.
Oh, I only heard one. I only caught one.
Well, it was, I watched Exorcist 167 times, and then every time
I've seen The Exorcist about 167 times, and it keekeeps getting funnier every single time I see it. That's what he says.
But I also just count the every
bioexorcism,
every mention of an exorcism. It's Pazuzu.
All right, so we got sidetracked, as we do.
The brothel was great. I love that they made the little, like it was actually, like, the brothel was actually added into the little miniature and had lights and everything. Like, that was so good.
The dinner, yes. Ortho, who I will talk about later, I'm sure, talked about how, like, if you commit suicide, you become a civil servant in the afterlife.
Yeah. Yeah, he makes that comment after he's read the handbook for the recently deceased, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Which Miss Argentina kind of alludes to in the waiting room. Mm. So does that mean that, because technically Juno is, I mean, she's a caseworker, but she's a civil servant. So did Juno off herself?
Yeah, I think they would consider smoking yourself into an early grave suicide.
I feel like that's a very gray area.
It is. But I mean, what other injuries did we see on her other than the hole in her throat?
Yeah. So either she slit her own throat or
she... Also, we need to point out that this movie came out in 86, 87, and
88.
There's a lot of smoking in this.
Oh,
there's a lot of smoking.
Yep.
Like Juno, chain smoking.
Loved that waiting room.
I could smell it. It smells like the smoking section of a Waffle House. Waffle House.
But speaking of that dinner,
yes,
that had to be the most wholesome possession ever.
Yeah, shout out to Adam and Barbara for like making the most party fun possession ever. Like, I want to be at that dinner. I do.
I'll take shrimp hands in the face.
I've had worse.
Well, I don't know how to respond to that.
Me either. I just needed to say something.
Okay, man. Is it just me, or does Ortho have such like pick-me energy?
So I think there was a thing going on between him and Delia.
What do you mean by a thing?
Delia would always wind up hanging out, spending more time with Ortho, and she would outright reject Charles every single time. That he'd even like come up with an idea of anything.
But I didn't really get like a thing between them. I'm not
saying romance.
Okay.
But I'm just saying she's rejecting her husband to hang out with her design friend.
Yeah, see, that relationship I got like gay best friend vibes from. Yeah.
But I mean, still, like, ma'am, you're living in this house with your husband. Stop making design choices with his dumb nuts and make it a home with your husband.
No, because she wants it to be like
an art studio.
I mean, remember, she said, if you don't let me gut this house, I will go insane and I will take you with me.
Yeah. I don't like Delia. I'm sorry. I just don't.
Oh, I don't. I love Catherine O'Hara and I think she played the character beautifully.
Yes.
I don't like Delia either.
No.
She's great comedic relief.
Yes. if I felt bad for anyone in this house, it would be Charles.
Oh, I felt awful for Charles. Especially at dinner when it was just the three of them and Lydia and Delia were in like a battle. And
this is Cantonese. I can't believe I'm not eating, or whatever. It's like, ma'am, eat your food or cook yourself. Let your husband enjoy his Chinese food because you know what? Sometimes you just need it. Sometimes you need that MSG. Sometimes you need that sodium, and sometimes you need that bloat.
I mean, yeah. I laughed so hard, speaking of Delia, when Lydia was like, after the dinner, and she was like, they won't come down. They tried to scare you guys, and it didn't work. And Delia said, please, they're dead. It's a little late to be neurotic. And in my notes, it says, pot meat kettle? Question mark.
Oh my God, I know.
I was like, all right, this is some stuff.
Ma'am, do you want a link to BetterHelp?
Hopefully she received that link sometime between the original and the sequel.
Hopefully. Do you think she'll be back? Do you think Charles and Delia will be back?
I think Delia will be back.
She's the real instigator.
I feel like I've tried to avoid all the spoilers I possibly could, but still you see pictures. And I feel like I've seen a picture of her, but then again, that could be wrong. And there's a lot of Schitt's Creek stuff that comes across my social media because I am a Schitt's Creek fan.
I've never seen it.
Oh my God. What is wrong with you?
There's a lot. Where do I begin?
Yeah, this isn't a therapy session. Moving on.
No.
But
this is a podcast about Beetlejuice.
I would love it if Delia came back. I think that would be fantastic.
What is your favorite moment from the movie? Other than the Lydia coming, like they're not scared. They're not coming down.
So I thought that was funny. I think my favorite scene is actually at the end. Because I love how, so I don't love how you see that Barbara and Adam are more parental figures to Lydia than her own parents. I do, however, love the relationship between them, and the fact that because she got an A in math, they did some fun little like ghosty things with her.
Yes.
So like that whole thing, again, wholesome and fun. I also like that Delia actually made a sculpture that looks good.
Yeah. Realistic. Yeah.
But yeah, that would probably be like my favorite.
I had such a big issue with freaking Charles and Delia letting go of their responsibilities of Lydia to the Maitlands, Barbara and Adam, because it's like we'd rather focus on our own selves and our own careers and our own hobbies than take care of a teenage daughter that obviously wants to hang out with the dead people more.
I also think it's sweet that they still got that thing, the Maitlands got that thing that they were missing in life.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of cool.
They got that in death finally, which is lovely.
Yeah.
And I appreciate the fact that the Maitlands actually were like, oh yeah, no, we'll take care of you, Lydia. Don't you worry about it. Like, I find that very sweet. And I love, that was like my favorite part of the like movie as a kid.
I was going to say, as a kid, I saw it as Lydia's parents suck.
Yep.
To be fair, Delia is her stepmom, but they suck at academics, and Barbara and Adam didn't, because Charles was like, when he heard the music, he was like, oh, she must have gotten an A in math. So he knows what's going on.
Right. I think they like definitely are more like the real life, like living and financial kind of parental units.
You know what? Maybe it's like this. Maybe it is like a blended family where like the parents got divorced and remarried. Like that's the kind of dynamic now as an adult that I see. Yes, exactly. That's how I see it, or can see it now, is it's more like co-parenting.
I love that. Oh,
it's
yes.
Everyone has a role to play.
What part did I like?
Go ahead.
I was just kidding. I like the little gift exchange between Barbara and Adam when they started in the beginning of the movie, when they first started off. I know, I'm such a sap. Jeez.
Glue and wallpaper.
I know. It's like
so wholesome.
It's like these two are staying home for their vacation, and like they obviously are like wanting to try to start a family. They love each other. I don't know how long they've been married, but it's like this kind of relationship between these two are like something that I really like. And in a movie, in a horror movie, especially, because you usually see like a lot of fractured couples.
I mean, but is this really a horror movie? I feel like it's a dark comedy.
Dark comedy, horror, yeah. I mean, a Halloween movie, I guess I should call it.
Yeah.
But it's like, do you know what I mean? It's like, it's good to see that there are people in love, and that their being in this movie doesn't make that any worse, or them dying together doesn't impact it, because they still like tried to save each other from the sandworms at the end of it.
Yes.
And I think that's sweet.
Another thing that I really like made me giggle. Because I don't even know if the store exists anymore. But when they call Beetlejuice, the second, when she agrees to be his child bride, and he says it's showtime, and then he like shows up as like this carnival game or whatever.
Yeah.
The first thing he says is "Attention, Kmart shoppers."
Oh my god! No, that's I don't even think they made those announcements when I was going like shopping at Kmart as a kid.
Oh, they did when I was going. Like when we would go, there would be like "Attention, Kmart shoppers."
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Like by the time Walmart. I mean, stop calling. I always do this. I'm sorry. I call Kmart's Walmarts just because it's the same kind of vibe.
It's the only thing that exists now.
Yeah.
You know what I think would be really awesome with the sequel? We ended with Lydia and the football players.
Yes.
And Beetlejuice in the waiting room. It would be hilarious if the sequel opened and Beetlejuice was still in the damn waiting room.
His number just only being called now.
Yes.
Because it was like something like 18 billion.
Yeah, it was something absolutely insane.
And then they're on like number 4.
Like the limit does not exist.
80s computers never knew any limits.
I don't know. But Delia, according to IMDb, I don't know if I said this earlier, it will be in the sequel.
Yes, you did say that.
Okay.
All Sears are closed physical locations, but the like appliance repair is still like a thing.
Oh, okay. That
like
makes
the heating
sense.
and cooling. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Because like those are still trained professionals.
But can you buy stuff from Sears still, like online?
Yeah. There's still a website. They still have sales. And shit.
So Bed Bath & Beyond went the way of Sears then.
Oh, I mean that's probably for the best. Anyways, let's stop talking about
moving
shopping.
on. Why does that matter?
We went from Kmart.
Strangest tangent to date.
What other final thoughts do you have about this film?
I have one question.
Okay.
Did Beetlejuice commit suicide? Because remember, Juno said that he was her assistant.
Right. He must have at some point. I mean, he had to have. I mean, for better or for worse, we haven't seen his whole body. So we don't know if he's missing appendages or like, big gashes in his body or, cut wounds or...
Yes, we have. Or do you mean without clothes on? Ew.
Without clothes, like skin. You're right.
Or he could have OD'd.
He could have. Yeah. Frick. I mean, and he's also kind of mentioned like he's sort of like a demon, which I don't even understand how that works.
I love the whole, what was the line? For each exorcism, get a free demon possession.
Oh, yeah.
That one was funny
playing
too.
the Beetlejuice TV commercial. I love that bit so much. It's so funny. Okay, so as I've probably already established, I watched this movie a lot. It was on almost every month somewhere on the television, on cable, and I was inevitably there watching at any point it came on. I love Michael Keaton in this film so much. I had the most ridiculous crush on him from this movie of all things. Like, Timothy, how weird are you? That's how weird.
We've established that, like...
eons ago, Tim.
I figured out that there might be something wrong with me when I realized I was attracted to the killers in a slasher movie that I will not name. We'll save that for another. We'll save that for that episode.
Yeah. Don't spoil it.
So that's kind of been our thing. We get like grab bags, mystery bags, whatever you call them.
Yeah,
I got some Beetlejuice ones. I don't have them in front of me. I got 2 shrimp hands and a Lydia. Not a red dress Lydia, though.
Just
otherwise, I would
Lydia.
be mailing that one to you.
Oh. I don't know. 2 shrimp hands make a pair of gloves.
Okay. So I thought that we could maybe. What was that?
With the shrimp hands, you're doing a dance.
This podcast is really best watched because
I know. I'm so sorry. I'm
of
so
what you
wiggly.
do.
I'm so wiggly, and I'm
it's so hilarious. I love it. So I thought, since we were doing this in a different format this week, that I would include kind of something a little different. Okay. So you know how I am the asshole, or am I the asshole? I am one, but am I the asshole Reddit threads are really popular, and people will read them and give commentary and stuff like that.
Yes.
So I thought I would do a version of that, where we read some little snippets from reviews, and discuss if we agree or disagree, or just laugh, because they're funny, whatever. I think I only have like 5 or 6 this time.
I love it. I love this idea.
I took all of these reviews from IMDb. And so we'll start on a high note. So this one, they gave Beetlejuice 8 out of 10 stars. And it says, "This is a great movie to simply watch and enjoy. No need to think or analyze. Just enjoy the silliness and cool factor of this nice film."
I love it. I'm here for it. That's the review I would give. I mean, except for maybe a 9.
It's accurate because I don't feel that you can really, you have to go into a Tim Burton film knowing that it's not going to make sense most of the time.
Right?
But it's going to make sense. It's not realistic, but it's going to be fun. And it's a good, movie that you can just throw on and shut your brain off.
Right. Yeah.
So for those of us with anxiety, it is a good movie choice.
Right. And you can also just keep it on playing in the background, and you don't even have to pay attention to it. You can wander in 20 minutes later, go, "Oh, yeah, okay."
Yeah, I have 4 TV shows that I do that with. I have to have the TV on.
Do you want me to read the next one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. 8 out of 10. Cheesy, creepy, a little gross, and funny.
Yeah, I'd agree that it's a little gross.
Oh, when he's digging the stuff out of his pockets? Yeah, I guess.
Yes, and also when he kisses Barbara.
Oh.
I was like, "Bleh." But yeah.
Child bride. Gross.
Yeah, that too. So 5 out of 10 stars for this next one. It says, "Despite an interesting premise and several impressive, unsurprisingly strange sight gags, Beetlejuice isn't really all that engaging."
Well,
I know you're going to disagree, but you have to say why.
Maybe we should call a stick removal service for this person.
There's another one.
Sounds like they've got it lodged sideways. I don't. I think this person was looking for a Wes Anderson film, and not, a funny jaunt into Giggle Bush land.
Yes.
There. That's my opinion. 9 out of 10 stars. Beetlejuice helped demonstrate Burton's ability to make dark and somber setups into funny romps that can still make for some spectacular stuff on the big screen. Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, because there were some pretty dark setups in this, the whole reviving the dead corpses of the Maitlands to be witnesses to Beetlejuice marrying Lydia, a child.
Well,
and it's these corpses are decaying, and it's it was kind of the least fun and happy, brightly lit thing. It was dark, and Lydia's I don't want to do this anymore.
They weren't raised for that reason.
No, but
Okay.
But Beetlejuice kept them there just because, why? Since you're here anyways,
I keep getting the bad ones. So this is 2 out of 10 stars. It says, has Burton's style all over it. It's a shame that the script is poor and there are few laughs to be found. I think they need a tree service removal. No, but I can understand how, like, for some people, this humor isn't funny, right?
Yes.
Like, my husband loves The Office. I hate it because I don't find the Michael Scott humor funny.
I see.
I find it uncomfortable and it makes me anxious. So, like, I can understand how, like, humor is subjective in a lot of ways. But I kind of felt like this was not... It's not highbrow humor. You know what I mean?
No. And as I said, it's like this stuff is on television a lot. It's like I watch, like, did parents would park their kids in front of this. Parents would just drop me off in front of a TV and playing Beetlejuice to be like, yeah, all right, have fun. I'll see you later.
Right.
It's like, it's funny. It doesn't have to make sense. And it just it's engaging for the eyeballs. It is.
Good. You get a bad one now, too.
I know. I was just going to say, Sam, you didn't get all the bad ones. 6 out of 10. Revisiting can be a bit disappointing. And I think probably because it's very dated looking. We should say that.
I don't find it to be as dated as other movies from that time.
No. I mean, but I guess it's like there's no computers and there's no phones. It's like no one can call for help. I don't know what could be disappointing about this film because I'm based.
Timothy just knocked something over.
No, I needed to mute so I didn't flip my thing again and blow everyone's ears out with the paper flipping.
I already did that. So I understand where they're coming from. Like, if you saw this movie as a young child, like, especially, like, I saw it in the 90s, so, like, everything looked a little more state-of-the-art.
Yeah, more recent.
Yeah. So, like, if you watched it as a child and you watched it a lot as a child and then say you didn't watch it again from the time you were, like, 13 until you were in your, like, 20s. I can understand how that revisit would hit different.
Yeah. Yeah. In that case, yeah.
So, like, it's a valid point. There are going to be people that think that. I'm not one of those people that thinks that, though. I still find it just as fun.
Let me read this next one, so that way you can at least get a good one in.
Hey, I got the first good one in.
I know. But this one's a 1 out of 10, so... 1 out of 10. I don't get the point to the film at all. Very boring.
Again, it's one of those, like, humor things. Or maybe they just don't have an attention span. I mean, this movie was filmed in a time where society's attention spans were really different.
Yeah. I mean, you have to pay attention fully to this movie like you do, like The Exorcist. But you do... it does help.
A lot if you don't pay attention to it, though.
Right. If you're scrolling on Twitter or whatever, you're gonna miss some stuff. So.
Oh, for sure. And then our last one this week is 8 out of 10 stars. Honestly, not sure how this got a PG rating because it has one of the best F-bombs ever. Seriously, ever.
Yes. I didn't realize it had an F-bomb until this watching, actually. Because I
always watched it on TV.
Cable. Yes, like TNT.
Same.
And they always do things like melon farmers, for the MF words.
Yeah.
And so it's like, or whatever, they just completely cut it. And it's like, I've never realized it. So when I was watching it with my dad the other night, I literally went, because I was so shocked. I'd never heard him say that word before. I was like, oh, what movie am I watching?
What the shit?
That's so funny.
I was so offended for like 8-year-old me.
I felt gypped. Like child me, my inner child was like, this would have been so much better. All right. Now it's time for rating this week's movie. What do you give it? 1 out of 5 jack-o'-lanterns.
5.
I knew you were going to say 5.
Listen, as I've said many times now, I love this movie. I will watch it forever. It is like, it's not even just a comfort film. It's like, if I want something with a good soundtrack, something that'll make me giggle, and something nice to look at, this movie has it. And it's perfect especially for Halloween, but like the lead up to Halloween, on New Year's, whenever. Even a marriage. For marriage, we'll watch it at the after party. What about you? Don't worry about offending me.
No, I'm not. So, for nostalgia purposes and the fact that I still think it's just as beautifully done as when I saw it as a kid, like, Tim Burton's style is very unique. And Catherine O'Hara, even though I don't like Delia, it's freaking hilarious. Mm-hmm. So as much as like I hate giving perfect scores because nothing's perfect, I am going to have to give this one 5 jack-o'-lanterns as well.
Yay! We'll have to do like confetti or something like I mean, for like the video and then like confetti. So, yay! We both gave it a 5 out of 5, which is kind of unusual as of yet because you and I kind of go like, you know, like just bounce between balancing.
We do. We also both look at things differently.
Yes.
We score movies differently.
Mm-hmm.
Rate movies. We don't score movies.
Yeah. That's Danny Elfman's job. Yeah. Well, any parting thoughts, Sam?
No.
No?
Not that I can think of.
All right. Well, we shall get all of this images up onto the Instagram, and we shall be posting all of those associated links into the descriptions of whatever format you're listening to this through, however you're listening to it. Thank you for listening. We don't really say that a lot, I don't think, but thank you for listening to today's episode. This is going to be our little shorter reviews. What are we calling them? Speed reviews? Quick reviews?
Yeah, for now we'll call them speed reviews until we can figure out something different name. Because while it's faster than our other reviews,
right?
Still not very speedy.
We've got our plates full with all sorts of stuff, but we are working our very hardest to get all of this out to you so you can enjoy it during the height of spooky season.
And if you have any movie recommendations, feel free to comment.
Email us. We'll put our emails into the description box as well, because we also like because you can't comment on Spotify.
Touche, honky.
So, yes, thank you all once more. And we shall see you again next time. Goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us this evening. Please go out and be spooky. We'll be here waiting.
Well, I didn't see that coming.